Welcome to Have I Got News For You? I'm Martin Clunes. In the news this week, news breaks of the tragic lawnmower accident involving the royal correspondent, Nicholas Witchell.
Which was...
The Sky documentary channel denies there are any historical inaccuracies in its dramatic reconstruction of the Crusades.
We're on the copter! We're on the copter and we're having a laugh!
And the officials at the Health and Safety Executive admit that the angle of the disabled access ramp may need adjusting.
He'll end up in a wheelchair.
Yeah, exactly. On Ian Hislop's team, a comedian whose performance on this show with Anne Widdecombe led her to announce that she'd never come on again. So a massive thank you and welcome to Carr. And with Paul Merton tonight as a controversial artist whom the Daily Mail thinks appears far too often on the BBC. So if you're a regular reader of the Mail, you'll be well advised to change channel, or even better, just change newspaper. Please welcome Grayson Perry. And we start with the bigger stories of the week. Ian and Jimmy, take a look at this.
Right.
And that's Irish protesters.
All the students have let themselves go.
That's the Prime Minister saying we don't need any help, we don't need any help. Help!
He only got the job because of his looks. Hang on.
Who's that? Is that the Cabinet?
That's...
Oh, and that's someone crying.
Michael O'Leary, Ryanair.
Yeah.
That's a licence to print money. There you go.
It's Ireland.
How'd you piece that together?
Extraordinary knack.
The best coverage this week was in the... I think it was the Irish Daily Star had the headline on the front page.
I think we may have it.
It's an amazing useless gobshites. The headline writers clearly just went, yeah, that'll do.
No, they're pretty cross in Ireland, particularly with their government, who they blame for spending a week saying, we really don't need any help, and then caving in completely, and then basically letting the Europeans run the place. And they've taken this huge bailout, including lots of our money as well. So everyone's very happy about that, I should think.
Yeah. That seems to have killed the mood slightly.
Yeah. The Celtic tiger has gone the way of all tigers. I think it's probably being ground up for Chinese medicine as we speak.
But it's an aphrodisiac.
Not for the tiger, it isn't.
Yeah, it's an odd situation, isn't it? Because we've bailed them out, basically. I don't know who... They owe money to everyone, do they?
Yes, but we've got to bail them out because we've lent them so much money.
And do you know why we've got to pay 1/8 their bill?
We've got to pay that because Alistair Darling signed a piece of paper while we didn't have a government. Brown had left the building, Cameron hadn't come back in again, so Darling was alone. He thought, I'll sign up to this, we'll bail out anyone. So that's his final gift to us. No, I mean, it's a good thing we're not in the Euro, and everyone's very thrilled now, and they say, thank goodness for Gordon Brown. Gordon kept us out of the Euro. And someone even suggested this week that because of that, we should put up a statue to Gordon Brown.
We could just use him.
He's not doing anything at the moment, is he? Brian Cowan is the Irish Prime Minister. Did you hear how he described himself this week?
Well, I heard him described, it was a phrase I hadn't heard before, as Biffo.
Oh, that's his nickname.
Yeah. What does Biffo stand for?
I've no idea what Biffo stands for. I mean, it could just be his looks. He looks a bit, well, big.
Big, ignorant...
Fucker from Offaly, I think it is. I'm just quoting in the vernacular. I apologise.
Didn't he refer to the bailout as an overdraft facility? It's a brilliant euphemism, I think.
So this is a nation consolidating their debts into one easy monthly payment?
The Independent's Ireland correspondent did a profile of Prime Minister Cowan on Tuesday. He said his communication skills are woeful, his performances in Parliament are often surly and bad-tempered. He was Finance Minister before becoming Prime Minister during the latter years of a boom that he personally encouraged, but in his 30 months in office, he never looked like getting a grip on the problems, and he's only got one eye. Oh, no. That's the Scottish one, isn't it?
The Scottish one, yeah.
But Ireland will be all right in the end, and how do we know this?
The luck of the Irish?
Because in an interview with the World Service, Nicky Byrne said, when things are bad, you need to dig deep and pull together. We're a good enough nation to do that. There's a lot of positivity still in Ireland. Who's Nicky Byrne? He's a member of Westlife, of course. So that's brilliant. That's him on the right, with the Weetabix on his head. Meanwhile, back in Westminster this week, 78-year-old Lord Young had to resign over comments he made over lunch. Here's how they covered the story in the Mirror.
Lord Bonkers was one up on gobshite.
He just said it's all right, isn't it? He said, this recession, don't worry about it. If you've lost your job, don't worry, it's within the statistical norm.
He said...
so, cheer up.
He said, for the vast majority of people in the country today, they never had it so good ever since this recession, this so-called recession, started. Because anybody, most people with a mortgage who were paying a lot of money each month, suddenly started paying very little each month. He also referred to the loss of 100,000 public sector jobs as within the margin of error of Britain's 30 million jobs.
Sorry, so he said people that were paying a lot in mortgage payments are paying less. That's probably because their house got repossessed, isn't it? You tend to stop paying it off once it's gone back to the bank.
Yes. He then went on to say that people would look back on the current crisis and wonder what all the fuss was about.
Well, he will, certainly.
Lord Young made his outburst while dining with a journalist at a Michelin-starred restaurant in Westminster. He later retracted his remarks, saying, "I've considered my position overnight." It's what you and I would call sobering up.
It seems a sort of... He's in a blow to the head and been taken back to the 1950s or something. It's you've never had it so good bit, you know. It's sort of, you know, Howard Macmillan, Elvis Presley. It's...
Yeah.
Do you remember when those two got married?
Oh, it was a lovely do, wasn't it?
But why David Cameron thought it was a good idea to
What,
re-employ...
Howard Macmillan to marry Elvis Presley?
Yeah.
Nobody thought it was a good idea at the time. They all scorned it. He was from the wrong part of town.
What, was Elvis a bit middle class?
He had blue suede shoes, after all. I mean,
Lord Young got sacked anyway.
Did he get sacked or he resigned, didn't he? He resigned because
He was resigned.
He was resigned, yeah.
It's a passive verb.
It's a very odd thing that happens where people... Because if you've got a normal job and you do something wrong, you get told off, no one in the history of the world has ever gone, this is an untenable position, I must resign. You go, no, fine, got away with it. Can't believe my luck.
Anybody would think that politics is just about appearances, wouldn't you?
Well, you proved that isn't true, Grayson. Because you're there being Mrs Thatcher and no one's booed.
I thought that was more Rain Spencer, actually, with a bit of Geoffrey Howe.
What else was made public this week for the first time?
Government expenses, and £170,000 spent on bottled water.
That was just the Revenue and Customs spent £170,000 on bottled water. Thousands of pounds went to a pet products company, a yoga firm and a private detective agency. And you'll love this one. The Cabinet Office coughed up £26,300 to a consultancy company for a difficult conversation workshop.
That's like a Monty Python sketch.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Is this a very difficult conversation or a slightly awkward conversation?
Ed Miliband, you remember him?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, he's back from paternity leave on Monday. And here's the official shadow cabinet photograph. And this is how Mr Miliband described his life these days. He told a meeting of MPs, being in opposition's crap.
Yeah, this is a new characteristic of our political leaders, because David Cameron swore the other day. He said, shit happens. And now we've got the opposition going, it's crap.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Do you know what his brother David did on Monday? He opened a Morrison's in South Shields.
You're kidding. What, couldn't they get Blair?
Was he like a guest celebrity or is that his new job?
He's the caretaker.
Yeah.
But we learned something about Ken Clarke's sense of priorities this week from the News of the World. He was busy in his office when the phone rang and he told his PA, if that's the PM, tell him I'll call back. If it's anyone else, tell him to fuck off.
There's an outbreak of Tourette's amongst our senior politicians.
I quite like it.
People with Tourette's, what makes them tick?
Eric Pickles, how did he spend Sunday evening?
Was he eating?
Funny enough, he was, yes. He presented the British Curry Awards.
What, they couldn't get David Miliband?
No, well, they wanted Pickles. After he said, I look forward to visiting each of tonight's winners. I'm sure all of them will be second to none. By way of a joke. On the subject of food, what did we learn about Boris Johnson's tastes this week? No? He likes cheese on toast, which was his chosen recipe that he submitted for a charity recipe book. Cover toast with slabs of cheese, grill it until it gets all nice. Leaving no stone unturned, the Daily Mirror journalist quickly established that a meal at the restaurant where Lord Young made his remarks cost £65 a head, Whereas, according to the Daily Mail journalist, a meal there costs £100 a head. Memo to Daily Mail accounts someone's having a laugh with their expenses.
Or adding another bottle of wine. Just say that from experience.
Also this week, as part of its bold campaign to slash public spending, the government created another 54 peers. One newly appointed peer this week is Julian Fellowes, the writer of Downton Abbey, or, as the other lords call it, that cutting-edge show about modern life. Paul and Grayson, here's yours.
Right,
I can't remember him at college.
No.
An old-fashioned sort of painting, though. He's not... I mean, abstract expressionism went out with, you know, the 1950s.
What, he should be doing installation art, should he?
Yeah.
What, chopping himself up and pickling himself in brine?
Her name's Macabre. She started painting with her owner, Rona.
Who's her owner, sorry?
Rona.
Her
Rona's the
owner.
owner, yeah.
Should we write a limerick as we're here?
Is she from Verona?
No, she's from Poland.
Oh, that doesn't rhyme.
And ITN reported on this story when it began. Horses are usually associated with racing and cowboys, but maybe not painting. It's a bit of news, isn't it?
What is the exhibit? Is it the Grand National Gallery?
How do you think Rona, the owner, explained the horse's burst of creativity?
It's not winning any races, so this way it might make some money.
No, she said, horses are magical, and we can assume that the horse wants to say something to us. What he's saying, love, is get this bloody paintbrush out of my mouth.
Is the brush made out of horsehair? Because that could be disturbing for him.
That could be worrying.
Might be his cousin in his mouth.
Yes. I can't help but think that a lot of these animals are coerced into painting and don't really know what they're doing. Have a look at this.
Sorry, what am I looking at? Yeah. Is this some sort of psychedelic Go Compare advert? I'm not... Because if that picture's been done by a horse, I think it's brilliant.
This is a particular painting style. This would interest you, Grayson. This is...
Might not.
Yeah, might not.
I might not be interested in painting, because, you know, I'm interested in installations.
Yeah.
Not some corny
well, don't
idea
poo-poo
about
it
what
before I've
artists
said
are
it.
interested in.
I didn't think you were going to be difficult, to be honest.
I'd still like to be pigeonholed, you know.
All right.
As an artist.
I never touched you.
That was a transvestite, of course.
This is Victoria Romanova, and she paints with her naked breasts.
That's been done 100 times. Well, at least twice.
You can tell...
Do you want to see her at work?
Yes, no.
Yeah, go on.
In the interests of artistic discussion.
Have we turned into Channel 5?
We did it for Jimmy.
Well, she's making a tit of herself.
Yves Klein
There you go, look.
Yves Klein did this in the 50s. So it's not...
Really?
Yeah, it's a bit derivative.
Was he even a man?
Yes.
Well, he can't have done that.
Well, no, he got
Like
women. He got women to paint. He painted them, and then he sort of got them to drag themselves across the floor and onto a big bit of paper.
So we're saying that's just old hat.
Well, it's old something.
A couple of old lads. Well, she said, I suddenly had the urge to paint using my breasts. I had a dream I was doing it and decided to try it for real. We all had those dreams, haven't we?
I've never once woken up and gone, yeah, I should definitely try that.
We'll stay with art.
Yes.
This is a Chinese artist, Liu Bolin. Look, that's Liu on the left.
Oh, yes, he
Yes.
paints himself to match the background
That's
behind
right,
him.
yeah. And he's the Invisible Man in Venice. Likes to take the colour of whatever he's standing next to, but like Nick Clegg. He and assistants spend 10 hours getting him to look like the background and blend in, although 2 inches to the right, it all looks rubbish. The Daily Mail website had him in various poses. In this astonishing image, he merges into the rubble after the earthquake in Sichuan. Although Ellie, 27, from London, says, I can still see him.
He could just do some photos where he's not actually there and say they're my best work. In fact, here he is.
What drove him to express himself in this way was after graduating from school, I couldn't find suitable work. I felt there was no place for me in society. I felt that no one cared about me. Whatever. Talking of suitable work, Grayson, haven't you just been driving around Germany on a pink bike with your teddy bear on the back?
Yes.
Well, it's not a question if you haven't been.
I was taking my teddy bear around Germany. Like, you know, on a kind of exchange visit with the Pope.
Yeah.
So That was his Pope-mobile.
Exactly,
So,
you can see that, yeah.
And was your teddy bear advocating the use of condoms?
He's a pretty free and easy on the kind of philosophical end of things, you know.
Good.
Yeah, that was an extraordinary bit of news this week, wasn't it? The Pope saying you can use condoms.
Yeah.
If I want advice about sex from an old man in a dress, I'll ask Grayson.
All right, should we play a game of horse knocker or Chinaman?
What's that?
What, sorry?
Is it 1976 already?
I'll show you a picture and you've got to tell me what or who did it, a horse, a knocker or a Chinaman.
Oh,
All right?
no.
Here we go.
Sorry, a horse, a knocker or a Chinaman?
I didn't write this.
Here's one for you. Is this a horse, or a knocker, or a Chinaman? Are we going to have a meat raffle after?
Let's skip it. How did Berlusconi upset the art world this week?
With a magnetic penis.
He's got a magnetic penis?
No, he paid...
No fridge is safe.
Well, you want to watch out if you're the Iron Lady.
Indeed. The ironing lady's got something to worry about as well.
So what's that story?
He had a statue restored at his villa. Is that right? I think.
Yes.
And he had the penis stuck back on, but for some reason they made it so they could take it off again. Made it magnetic.
It wasn't just the penis. They gave...
And the hand.
Yes.
And a hand. Yeah, so yeah.
Sorry, they've restored a statue and you can take the hand off and take the penis off. Nice that you'd be able to swap them as well, though.
The Christmas one.
Is there any activity that would lead to stress on both the hand and the penis?
A part of Silvio Berlusconi himself was turned into an art exhibit recently. Did you hear about that?
It wasn't his brain, was it?
Appendix?
No, it was...
Was it a bit of a chunk from his forehead where he was attacked?
No, it was the excess fat from his liposuction operation. Artist Gianni Motti claims he bought the fat from the clinic. He turned it into a bar of soap.
Soap?
Yes. Sold it for £10,000. And the bar of soap is called Clean Hands.
That's very good.
He claims that he made it into a bar of soap as a commentary on Italian corruption. Soap is made of pig fat, but I thought how much more appropriate if people washed their hands using a piece of Berlusconi instead. These are the art world's up-and-coming rivals to Grayson Perry. Chinese artist Liu Bolin is an expert at making himself invisible. Here he is in front of the Great Wall of China, in front of a gondola in Venice, and here he is flying a stealth bomber. One of his compositions was this one of him in front of the wheel of a digger. His next work was in front of the A&E unit at the Beijing hospital. Also this week, Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi has spent thousands of pounds restoring new genitals to the statue of Mars in his office. Not the first time he's asked highly paid experts to work their magic on an ancient penis. So to round two, the picture spin quiz. Fingers on buzzers.
Well, don't do that. Do you know what it is?
I know what the answer is.
Oh, well, don't do. I'm sorry. You've done exactly the right thing, then. Go on.
This is a number of people who are advocating teaching Latin and Greek in schools.
Oh.
Boris, Joanna Lumley and Sir Tom Stoppard.
And...
I think I'm there.
Yes.
But you haven't put me in the picture.
No, you're with the invisible Chinaman.
It's a campaign suggesting it might be a good idea to teach Latin and Greek in schools, and I think it's a very good idea, and so do they. So, unfortunately, I'm agreeing with Boris, which is obviously embarrassing.
Boris Johnson told the press, Latin lessons made me what I am. The Sunday Times ran a quick Latin test using some Latin phrases that might work in the modern world. Translate this one for us.
This feels like an anxiety dream now, where we've got Latin, somehow on television doing Latin homework.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't get excited about the Latin language. It's not possible, teacher, for me to be interested.
No. Do it again, boy!
I couldn't do my Latin homework as it clashed with Britain's Got Talent, sir. Yikes. Try to do this one.
No. Nothing for you.
It's true. Boy who's subsidulous. Is he a footballer? And has put 3 goals past us, maximum
Not bad,
3.
not bad. Yeah, the boy Crouchy got his head to it, and we're well pleased with the 3 points. And the students have been protesting again on that note. Anybody see this? This is a good one. Check out the girl in the background. She's really got a point to make here.
And I think what's going to happen is people from all the other public sectors are going to come out in solidarity with us. People from pensions, pensioners, healthcare, housing. We're getting thousands and thousands of emails of support from people, old people saying that they support what we're doing.
Elsewhere in education news, Panorama has made some headline-grabbing revelations this week. What's got the tabloids all hot and bothered?
Is this the news that there's some Islamic Saturday schools that are telling kids how to chop thieves' hands off? It's it's not comedy gold, is it?
As opposed to nailing people to the crosses or eye for an eye and all that other stuff. I mean, the Bible's not short on gore, is it?
Yeah, but if you make
And
jokes about
prejudice.
Christians, you tend to get letters of complaint rather than letters that blow up, so...
That's why I
if it's all the
was
same, And they're teaching, I think it's Saudi Arabian curriculum.
And what do the textbooks have to say about homosexuality?
They're not keen on it, the Saudi textbooks.
According to the Express, for acts of sodomy, children are told that the penalty is death, although it does at least allow for some personal choice as to whether this should be done by stoning or burning with fire or throwing over a cliff.
Those damn liberals.
On a lighter note, please.
On a lighter note.
Yeah, Landscove Primary School in Devon made the news this week because of a science project. Any idea about what that is?
Is it sending something up in the air?
Mm-hmm.
Or was it? Helium must be helium. Helium's always involved. Balloons. The caretaker's been taken to the outer reaches of space.
They launched a potato dressed as Father Christmas into space in a rocket made out of a plastic bottle and a vegetable box tied to a helium balloon. Here it is. There's the Sputnik.
That's... how was that photograph taken?
They cleverly attached a digital camera.
Oh, did they? That's very
it
good.
is 17 miles above Earth.
Brilliant.
The poor primary kid taking the photo there.
You want to guess the Sun's headline?
You just said it, did you? Sputnik.
No. Mashtronaut. Not that good, is it? This is the campaign to have Latin taught in state schools, even though critics point out that Latin is a dead language and has no place in modern English, per se. Thank you. Meanwhile, a primary school in Devon found itself in the news when they launched into the air a plastic drinks bottle containing a potato Father Christmas tied to a helium balloon. It went from Devon to Hampshire via outer space in just 2 hours and 20 minutes. Great Western Railways take note. Fingers on your buzzers.
Is this the bishop that said, I'll give it 7 years? He's running a book on the royal wedding.
The signs on the back of his dress there looks like that sign for hazardous waste.
He's the Bishop of Willesden, and he got into trouble because he went on Facebook to record his thoughts about the royal wedding. And he said it was nauseating tosh, all the coverage of it. He said he'd avoided the last wedding between Big Ears and the porcelain doll. So he got into quite a lot of trouble, and he's recanted.
He said the royal family was full of broken marriages and philanderers.
Yeah, well, it's not
he
all
compared the
untrue.
couple to shallow celebrities.
Yeah.
I don't know them. I have no part in celebrating it. I just wish we weren't paying for it. I give the marriage 7 years. Sounds a bit grumpy. But since he's had a radical change of heart, though, he said, I recognise that the tone of my language and the content of what I said were deeply offensive, and I apologise unreservedly. I wish them a happy, lifelong marriage.
I mean, that speed of backtrack, he shouldn't be in the C of E, he should be in the Lib Dems.
They've named the 29th of April as the date for the wedding.
Yes, it's St Catherine's Day.
Yeah.
It's David Icke's birthday.
Oh, right.
It's actually the day that Hitler and Eva Braun got married.
Well, the romance.
Was that about 3 days before they committed suicide, though?
1 day before they killed themselves the next day.
Well, the bishop thinks they're going to last 7 years.
Obviously, Kate was given a lovely snazzy ring last week. She's also, according to the News of the World, been given another special piece of jewellery fitted with a secret James Bond-style tracking device which she must wear at all times to foil any kidnap attempts. Or maybe the News of the World has made that up.
They have been predicting that the two of them are going to get married for about 10 years.
Well, they were right, though, weren't they?
Yeah, no, you're right.
Monkeys and typewriters.
I haven't seen the wedding list. I wouldn't know what again.
The royal family has announced an April date for Prince William and Kate Middleton's wedding.
Lovely.
The wedding will take place at Westminster Abbey, where the groom's ushers will stand in the aisle showing the people where to sit, and the bride's mother will stand in the aisle showing the people the location of the emergency exits here, here, and here. According to the Daily Express, Liberal Democrats feared an April wedding because it would distract voters preparing to take part in the May the 5th referendum on scrapping the first-past-the-post voting system for the alternative vote method. Won't take a wedding, a dog on a skateboard to do that. Fingers on buzzers, teams.
This is North Korea, surely, launching a missile attack on South Korea. The talk is he's going and his son is taking over, Kim Jong-un. So it might be kind of a show of strength for him.
And it's a strange case of that we won't invade North Korea because they have got weapons of mass destruction. And we know that.
Do you know what exactly the North Koreans are threatening?
Well, they're very blood-curdling, the North Koreans. It's usually fire, brimstone, death, hail.
Very, very precise, actually. It's merciless military attacks if the South Korean army dares to invade our sea territory by 0.001 millimetres.
Politics over there is pretty rough, isn't it?
It's pretty tough, yes.
It's man eats dog.
And it's, Sarah Palin, did anyone hear what she had to say about this? This is quite fresh.
I can't believe
one.
she knows where North Korea is.
She gave a radio interview. The host said, "How would you handle a situation like the one that just developed in North Korea?" Palin, "Obviously, we've got to stand with our North Korean." To which the host replied, "South Korean." Yeah, said Palin.
I like the way she's thinking. You know, it's been like this for 50 years. I like her radical new thinking. I think maybe if we get behind North Korea, maybe they'll achieve something. I mean, it might be Armageddon, but they'll get something done.
Our Foreign Secretary, William Hague, said, "We strongly urge North Korea to refrain from such attacks." To which the North Koreans replied, "Who? Oh, baseball cap, hotel share boy, yeah." There are simpler ways to resolve conflicts. If you have a look at this in the Argentinian parliament, see what you think. It happened during a budget debate this week. What do you think?
I like the fact they take it seriously. They genuinely look as if they care.
These are the opening shots of World War III.
I thought it was a gag.
Sorry, it didn't.
A soft spot for World War III gags. I think it's such a funny idea. Well, I won't laugh this time.
These are the opening shots of World War III.
It's the way you're doing it. It's just so funny.
I've got a bit more.
Oh, sorry, I will shut up. I do apologise.
Wind your neck in for a couple of
Sorry,
minutes.
I'll shut up.
Shut your big dinner grinder.
I don't eat stone. Dinner grinder. Cake hole, if you please.
These are the opening shots of World War III. Kim Jong-il's heir apparent, Kim Jong-un, was educated in Switzerland, where he was mercilessly teased every time he tried to say Toblerone.
Obviously, I think that kind of thing's just racy lacism.
It's time now for the odd one out round. They are David Blunkett's dog Sadie, Church of Scotland moderator John Christie, Fox News, and a motorboater from the Isle of Sheppey.
What exactly is a moderator in the Church of Scotland? Someone going, "Leave it, you've had enough."
Is it anything to do with David Blunkett's dog led him into the wrong part of the House of Commons for a vote because the dog was so used to him being on the Labour side? So it's so about somebody being led in the wrong direction. I think we're going to have to guess for this. What do you think, Grayson?
I think it's Fox News.
Definitely.
It's Fox News.
It's Fox News, there we are, he's right.
It is, yes, they've all got a poor sense of direction, apart from Fox News, although they did make a geographical faux pas relating to the Beatles, reporting on a deal for the Beatles' back catalogue finally being available on iTunes. The website said, "What's up Apple's sleeve?" Apparently, Manchester's favourite mopheads. Fox News was horrified at the gaffe and said they'd be apologising personally to John Lennon and George Harrison. They've now resolved the dispute between Apple Inc., the computer people, and Apple Core, the Beatles people, which was discussed on BBC News 24. This was Guy Gormer, who'd been waiting for a job interview in the BBC's IT department.
Lovely, yeah.
But was accidentally mistaken for a technology expert called Guy Cooney and found himself being interviewed live on air. It's worth a look.
So what does this all mean for the industry and the growth of music online? Well, Guy Cooney is the editor of the technology website News and Were you surprised by this verdict today?
I'm very surprised to see this verdict to come on me, because I was not expecting that. When I came, they told me something else, and I'm coming. You got an interview, so it's a big surprise anyway.
I love the fact you just went with it. When
I know, you had to go.
I'm very surprised.
Yeah.
I'm more surprised than you imagine.
It does make you wonder how many other interviewees that you've watched have just been delivering a package.
Well, I just came in to do the makeup.
God, you didn't get that job. The Church of Scotland moderator, poor John Christie, made a slight navigational error during Pope Benedict XVI's state visit in September. He was due to meet the Pope as part of the official welcome party in Edinburgh, which included Nick Clegg, Alex Salmond and the Archbishop of Canterbury, but he made a wrong turn in Holyrood and he ended up sitting in a completely different room on his own. All afternoon.
Did he think to himself everybody else had got it wrong?
It did emerge recently that a previous Pope enjoyed a good chinwag with someone rather surprising.
The devil?
It was a lovable sports-drunk Gaza. His bodyguard was my bodyguard at one point, he said. The Pope rang me up wanting to speak to me. It didn't faze me. I just said, all right, Pope. How are you?
He had the same bodyguard as the Pope. That's a bit inconvenient.
Is it your bodyguard's my bodyguard?
Oh, right.
Don't the Pope's bodyguards wear those really sort of colourful Swiss Guard costumes?
That's right.
I mean,
That's the
that
Swiss
would have
Guard.
stood out at kind of Newcastle United.
I don't believe him. I think one of his friends was pulling his leg.
You think so?
Or
What,
he
do you
was
think
drunk.
someone fooled Paul Gascoigne?
The motorboater from the Isle of Sheppey had
yeah.
to be rescued by Sheerness lifeboat earlier this year after running out of fuel whilst going round and round the Isle of Sheppey for 36 hours. Do you know what he was trying to do?
Stop going around the Isle of Sheppey.
He was trying to get from Gillingham to Southampton. One of his rescuers explained that because he had no chart, his general principle was to keep the land on his right. He didn't realise that Sheppey was an island.
There'll be some mawkish film about it soon by Richard Curtis or something called The Man Who Went Left or something.
You're not a fan of Richard Curtis films?
Yeah, I love them, yeah. Can't you tell from the tone of my voice?
Yeah.
I don't like it when Mummy and Daddy fight.
Was that Sadie, the former Home Secretary's guide dog, recently announced her retirement after 8 years
She
of
recently
loyal
announced
service.
her retirement.
Yes, she did. And why is she in the odd one out?
Yeah, she took him into the wrong voting lobby, I think.
That's right, yes.
Has she been voting independently of him for some years?
Well, this is what he said. He said, while I'm in opposition, the dog is still in governing mode. There were some highlights of David Blunkett's previous guide dog, Lucy, who was Sadie's half-sister. She vomited during a speech by David Willits. Haven't we all? David Blunkett recalls the time that Tony Blair inadvertently trod on his guide dog's ear and instantly apologised, which was officially recorded in Hansard. So many things to apologise for, and the one thing he feels bad about is the dog's ear. Which means that at the end of this round, Paul and Grayson are lagging behind with 4, Ian and Jimmy still in the lead with 5. That's exciting, isn't it? You know this is on telly.
I love you, I need you, I must tell you. I don't even work here, I just found these headphones in the back of the chairs.
Didn't say that in the shower.
Yeah.
It's time now for the Missing Words round.
Missing word.
Which this week features as its guest publication the Letterbox Study Group newsletter. The magazine features lots of photos of different kinds of post boxes, like this one. And to date, none of the readers have spotted that there's a woman in that photo as well. And we start with, what? Try the morgue.
Are you dead?
Bruce Forsyth.
Fancy a good night's sleep.
Hungry?
It's stuck for a gift.
Try that on Christmas morning. Oh, lovely. What is it? It's a funny shape.
Grandad's come back to say hello.
Next, can you what? No, me neither.
Can you come up with a witty answer?
The answer is, can you tell the difference between a Tin Lizzie and a rare LB3219/1? Yes, this is, of course, from the Letterboxd newsletter. And as it happens, postmen can't tell the difference between house number 12 and house number 83. Although, amazingly, they can tell the difference between a birthday card with a necklace in it for my niece and one without.
Oh, that sounded personal.
Tell me more about your niece.
She's a niece with no necklace for her birthday.
Oh, that's awful.
Yes. All right, next one. What prove a hit with gay Germans?
Novelty letterboxes.
Other gay Germans.
Is it coffins?
Yeah, very good.
Designer coffins.
Yeah, camp coffins.
Oh, camp coffins.
Camp coffins.
Yeah. I love camp stuff in Germany.
The coffins are the creation of a firm of German undertakers. There's a laugh a minute working there. The firm also creates artistic, personalised urns for thousands of euros a time. But if you've got a few bob to spare, you really love your nan, you can always scoop her up and pour her into one of Grayson's vases.
It's a market.
Next, Malcolm Jones found what at Thackwood Nook? I kid you not.
It's a particular type of letterbox. A copper Ronnie.
Michael Bublé.
It's an LB3212. Yes. If you prefer the South American models, then feast your eyes on this baby, the autumn 2010 pin-up, all the way from Uruguay. Ain't she a doozy?
Looks like Anne Widdecombe.
A fur man, Widdecombe. Oh, I wish I'd said that. Completely gone there now. Next. What? Yes, if I stand on one leg.
Can you hop? Is it Michael Bublé?
I wish it was.
Yeah.
Can you post yourself?
Not if you've got a necklace on, you can't.
Just let it go. Yeah, we don't know.
Lost weight. Yes, if I stand on one leg. Next, we all have an interest in letterboxes, but have you ever... what?
Had a long-term relationship with one.
But have you ever taken one apart, just like Alan Hudson of Stoke-on-Trent, who in 1975 surprised his wife and his neighbours with his magnificent Victorian postbox which dated from 1879? Question mark.
Have you ever thought of carrying your interest just that little bit further by moving to a street with the letterbox connection in its name?
A little bit further?
Yep. That's to the hilt, isn't it?
Sorry, love, why are we moving house? Well, I'm glad you've asked.
The magazine illustrates some of these with Pillowbox Corner, Pillowbox Lane, Letterbox Lane, and, of course, Get a Life Boulevard. Next, lots of moles keep what?
Diaries.
Lots of moles keep me in winter underwear.
Yeah, against my will.
Is that true? Keep your skin young.
Lots of moles keep aging at bay.
Ah.
Yes, these are human moles, obviously. According to The Times, the findings by a team at King's College London were presented at a meeting of the Royal Society of Medicine last week, otherwise known as Slow News Week. Finally, homeowner showed us what in his toilet before lunch?
Is it his lack of breeding?
Oh, it's going to be another number, isn't it? It's like LZ24891. Yeah.
Try another one.
LPG 49W. WBL.
WB2075/2.
I know his brother.
There you go. Yes.
I know his brother.
And so the final scores are Ian and Jimmy with a massive 7 and Paul and Grayson with a titchy 5.
Oh, never mind.
Oh, we didn't get that far.
before we go, there's just time for the caption competition. Paul and Grayson get this.
Californian scientists find previously unknown side effect of smoking pot.
The borers take up hip-hop. We don't know. What's the right answer?
The answer is yes.
Oh.
Ian and Jimmy have that.
Do you want to marry my other son?
Is he saying, I've got a hole in my coat pocket?
We need a stand-in because there might be some sort of assassination attempt.
I've still got a hole in my coat pocket.
And I leave you with news that whilst inspecting the underground in Rome, Silvio Berlusconi's transport minister saved some seats for her colleagues.
Is that invisible Chinese man in there somewhere?
In Oxford, investigative journalists uncover the shadowy millionaire behind a network of animal testing centres. And there's evidence that after a recent wedding anniversary, one disappointed wife would have preferred cash.
What happened to your niece's necklace?
And on that bombshell, I say good night.
Jeremy Clarkson on health and safety. Stay with us for QI XL next on BBC Two. Or there's more laughs on BBC Three at 10:40 with Russell Howard's Good News Extra.